Similar to banks in Germany, not all credit cards are accessible to all foreigners. In this video, we will talk about the most accessible credit cards to internationals and also show you the pros and cons so you can make an informed decision for yourself. The structure of this video is going to be requirements for getting a credit card in Germany, what are the credit limits that you have in Germany, what kind of credit cards exist in Germany, and then the comparison of 3 of the most foreign-friendly, in our opinion, credit cards in Germany.
So let's start with the requirements to get a credit card in Germany as a foreigner. Typically speaking, you should be 18 years or older.
You need to have a German mobile phone number.
You should receive a regular monthly income.
You need to have a German bank account.
Of course, you also need to have a valid passport.
And for non-EU nationals, you need to have a residence permit.
And you also sometimes may get asked for your Meldebescheinigung, so from your Anmeldung. To increase your chances as well to be accepted for a credit card, be sure to not apply directly after you arrive to Germany, but rather wait a few months, settle in a little bit, build a Schufa report, and become more of a reliable customer in that sense before you apply for a credit card.
If you're curious with what Ivan meant by Schufa, Schufa is the credit score in Germany, and we have a whole video talking about it and explaining it that you can find up there.
Often the question that we get is, what is the limit on my credit card going to be? Or how can I increase my limit? And the answer is, it depends. It really is a highly individual question because a limit on a credit card gets calculated automatically by an algorithm at time of application, pretty much. And it takes into account all kinds of things. Of course, your monthly income, your Schufa credit, and other aspects that are not really public. However, what seems to be more the case is that the limit is, especially in the beginning, rather low compared to what you might expect. When I talk about low, it could be as low as 100 euros and it could be 1,000, 2,000. It really depends. Sometimes it can also be higher. It is highly individual. Now, how to proceed in order to increase that limit depends again on you and also on how bad you want a credit card and how you'd like to use it. Best case, now this is not a promise from our side that this will work, but this is from what our experience says is working best, is that you use the credit card frequently after you've received it with the low limit. And also, of course, pay on time, use the credit card to how it's intended to be. And after a few months, you can contact the customer service and ask for the limit to be increased. Usually they would require a few payslips from you. And ideally, the payslips are higher than the limit that you have to prove that you are a reliable and worthy customer.
Now let's jump to what kind of credit cards exist in Germany. And this, to be honest, was kind of like the most confusing thing when I first arrived to Germany. And here is why. The first one is a charge credit card. That means that you pay with your credit card and that debt gets collected. However, at a certain specific date, the bank pulls the exact amount that you have spent on your credit card from your bank account directly. That's like a direct debit. There is no paying in installments. There is no, I'm going to loan from the credit card and have an interest. No, it gets pulled directly.
And it gets pulled monthly.
Yes, and that was a shock because in Guatemala, the majority of credit cards are the second type of credit card, which is the
revolving credit card. And that is exactly what you are known or what you're used to from Guatemala. I would say generally in the Americas, it's the more common type where you, again, use it to spend. However, it does not get collected via direct debit. As a matter of fact, you would have to balance it out or pay the invoice on a monthly basis manually, and you can choose to only pay partially of your debt and pay the rest in installments, which then of course leads to paying interest on the debt that you don't pay, which in Germany is not that common. We will have a few of those cards in this video. However, it's not the norm.
The third one is a prepaid credit card. And this one is, as it says, you actually top it up beforehand and then you're able to spend the money. And the money that you have to spend is the exact amount that you topped it up with.
We're including this type of credit card, even though it's not a real credit card, in this list, just for you to know that they exist in case you really want a credit card. However, for whatever reason, you don't get accepted by the other credit card institutions. So a prepaid credit card you can usually also have without a credit score if you're freshly to Germany, because again, you're not needing to be reliable because you, at the end of the day, just consuming your own money.
Throughout this video, though, we will only be talking about the revolving and the charge credit cards.
Unfortunately, all cards and the websites are in German only. However, you can, if you use Chrome as a browser, use your mouse, right-click, and then select Translate to English or any other language that you'd like, and you can navigate the websites in this way easier. Before we jump into the comparison, a small disclaimer beforehand, this is not a market overview. Of course, there are other credit cards out there in Germany as well. The reason why we only talk about these 3 credit cards that are coming up are 2 factors. One, they don't have a monthly or annual fee, so they are in their basis, they are free. And second, they are amongst the most accessible types of credit cards for foreigners. Like we mentioned before, not all credit institutions accept internationals, especially in their first year or so. What do we mean by that? For example, in our previous video that is about 2 years old, we mentioned 2 providers, Hanseatic Bank and Barclays, which are amazing credit card providers, and we also use them personally. However, unfortunately, time has shown that their risk approval rate is unfortunately a lot more difficult to pass as a newcomer to Germany. And hence the approval rates are relatively low, which is why we no longer include them in our comparison.
Another side note is that all the credit cards that we will mention from now on, you can find the link to their respective websites in the description box below. Bear in mind that they are affiliate links, and if you decide to get a credit card from one of those links from one of the providers that we mentioned, we get a small commission at no extra cost to you.
Here we go, let's start with a comparison. And the first credit card we want to talk about is the TF Bank Mastercard Gold.
Jumping right into the table. Type of credit card?
It's a revolving credit card.
English website and support?
No.
Banking app to control the card in English?
Yes.
No annual fees?
Yes.
Not tied to a specific bank account?
Yes.
Apple and Google Pay?
Yes.
No cash withdrawal fees?
Yes, so the cash withdrawals are free. However, sometimes abroad, some ATM providers may charge you a fee which is unrelated and won't be refunded.
No foreign currency fees?
Yes.
Effective annual interest rate at time of recording?
Is 24.79% per year, so that's not per month. And that gets charged in case of partial debt payments, or if you withdraw cash or do a bank transfer, then from the day that you do that.
Rebalancing via direct debit?
No.
Now, how do you activate this credit card?
Once you've successfully been approved for the credit card, you will be prompted to verify your identity via ID Now in most cases. For that, you just download an app and verify your identity. After successful verification, you will receive 2 letters from the TF Bank, and this will take up to 7 to 10 days. Why are we saying this? Just for you to be prepared. This is a bit of a longer process, and don't give up in between. It just takes some time. 1 letter includes your credit card, and very important, an activation form. This activation form you need to hand sign and then take a picture of it and send a clear picture that is readable to the email address of the TF Bank, which is aktivierung@tfbank.de. The other letter includes your PIN number. And once you've emailed that activation letter to the TF Bank, it will take another 1 to 3 business days until you get the final email that informs you that your card has been activated.
Yay! To help you with the application process, you can go to our blog post, which we link in the description box below, which takes you step by step on how to fill out the form. The form is in German, and of course we translated the whole process for you to make it super smoothly to be able to apply for the credit card. Second runner-up is the Advanzia Gebührenfrei Mastercard Gold. Let's jump into our comparison table. Type of credit card?
Revolving.
English website and support?
No.
Banking app to control the card in English?
Yes.
No annual fees?
Yes.
Not tied to a specific bank account?
Yes.
Apple and Google Pay?
Yes.
No cash withdrawal fees?
Yes, same as with the TF Bank. Also, ATMs can charge a fee. You won't get that one refunded.
No foreign currency fees?
Yes.
Effective annual interest rate at time of recording?
24.39% again per year. And it applies in case you decide to pay your debt only partially, and also from the day of whenever you withdraw cash, do a bank transfer, and also purchase cryptocurrencies.
Rebalancing via direct debit?
No, not possible.
Now, how do you activate this credit card?
You activate the Advanzia Gebührenfrei credit card actually without identity verification. That is a very big distinguishment. I'm not sure how they prove your identity because you also don't need to link it to a bank account, but that is their thing. Exactly. So, however, after you successfully apply to this credit card, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get snail mail from them. And that letter also includes your credit card as well as like this postcard form, which you can rip off the paper, which again, you need to fill out and you need to mail it back to them via snail mail, so via postal mail. After they receive this form that you have sent back, it takes another 2 days or so until your credit card will be activated. Of course, you will be informed about that as well. And then it will take another up to 2 weeks to receive another letter with your PIN.
Wow, That is also a very long process. So how do I pay for my debt for both of these revolving credit cards?
So like we said in the beginning, there is no direct debit that will collect your debt directly from a bank account, which Germans might be used to, internationals maybe not. You need to balance out your debt manually. You will receive an invoice from the respective credit card provider at the beginning of the month with the information of your total debt, the minimum amount that you need to repay, and again, the interest rate that would get charged otherwise, as well as the due date of the invoice. It typically is the 20th of the same month.
And the minimum amount is either 3% of your debt or 30 euros.
That you need to pay.
Yes.
If you pay everything by the 20th of the month, meaning the 20th it needs to be received by the bank, then you have no extra charges. If you decide to only pay partially, you will pay interest on the remaining debt from the time of purchase, with the annual interest rate that we mentioned before.
To give you an example, let's say I buy a very big flat TV screen on Christmas, 25th of December. I get my invoice at the beginning of January. I decide to pay 20th of January partially. The interest would start to count from the 25th of December, right?
Right. If you don't pay anything, meaning if you also don't pay the minimum amount, then you will have extra fees charged and eventually your card will be blocked as well.
And not only that, I would also say it would affect your Schufa score.
Most likely. The big question is, how do you keep these two types of credit cards free? One, you can only use them for in-store or online payments, because then there is absolutely no interest to pay unless you don't pay your invoice on time. Mm-hmm. Two, don't use them for cash withdrawals or bank transfers. I think this is the biggest pitfall of those two credit cards and that you just need to be aware of, because if you do, you will start paying interest from that day, not only from when you get the invoice and when you are able to balance it out. So in my case, if I would use this credit card, I would not use it for cash withdrawals. And three, of course, pay your invoice in full to avoid the partial interest rates. Unless, of course, you are looking for this type of credit card and you want to pay in installments and you are aware that you will pay interest, then knock yourself out, use it like you want to use it. We just want you to be aware of the fees that may apply depending on your behavior. Both the TF Bank as well as the Advanzia Gebührenfrei Mastercard Gold also come with certain travel insurance free of charge included. We have not made them part of our comparison for two reasons. One, they only apply if you fulfill certain requirements like paying minimum of 50% of the transportation of a trip, and it cannot be paid 12 months in advance of the trip, which for me, all of my little alarm bells are ringing because I cannot rely on that. I don't really check the time between booking and travel, and I don't want to need to check that. That's why we rely on a travel insurance package per year from Allianz, for example, that we pay once, and I know for 12 months we're covered no matter what. We just want to let you know they are included. However, be aware and read the fine print if you do want to use them.
Number 3 on our list is the American Express Payback credit card. If Payback sounds familiar, that's because it's the same Payback as you've probably heard in Rewe or DM, and it is the largest rewards program and loyalty program in Germany, Payback. And this credit card, you can use to collect Payback points and also use it to exchange those points for other things like miles and other stuff. We have a whole video talking about the Payback program, which you can check out there to figure out what this point thing that we're talking about is about. But anyways, let's talk about purely the credit card. So jumping into our comparison table, type of credit card?
It's a charge credit card.
English website and support?
No.
Banking app to control the card in English?
No.
No annual fees?
Yes.
Not tied to a specific bank account?
Yes.
Apple and Google Pay?
Yes.
No cash withdrawal fee?
No. There's a 4% cash withdrawal fee, minimum 5 euros.
No foreign currency fee?
No. There's a 2% foreign currency fee.
Effective annual interest rate at time of recording?
Not really, because it's a charge credit card and it gets directly debited from your bank account. However, if that bank account is not full, if it doesn't have enough money, then of course it can't be charged, and then you would get a dunning letter, and after that you will get charged an extra interest rate, which is 5% on top of the basic interest rate from the European Central Bank. Just don't let it get to that.
So how you pay for your credit on this credit card is actually, it is not really a credit or a loan. It's just you're using it to pay things, and at a certain time of the month, they will pull the money directly from your debit account.
Yeah, I mean, if you can still use it for a loan just within a time frame of 30 days.
Yeah, just make sure that there's enough money in your bank account so when that pull happens, it's enough to cover that debt.
Correct.
And how do you activate your American Express Payback credit card?
So first of all, there is no identification necessary because it is linked to your checking account and that is your identity. Once you receive the card, you can simply identify it via the American Express app or via the website. It's really just a click of a button.
Wow, that's a lot easier compared to the other ones. And how do you keep this credit card fee-free?
You keep it fee-free for payments in-store and online in the Eurozone only. As mentioned in our comparison table, there is a 2% foreign exchange rate fee. And you should also not use it for cash withdrawals unless you intend to, because there is again a 4% fee, a minimum €5 fee for cash withdrawals no matter where in the world.
Now, which credit card is the right one for you? It depends. And that depends not only on what intention you have with the credit card, but also if the provider accepts you as a customer. As we mentioned at the beginning of the video, unfortunately, not all credit card providers accept all foreigners.
Just make sure to not apply to all 3 or 2 credit cards at the same time, as they all request information from the Schufa, and having 3 requests at the same time may have a negative impact. So go for one. If that one works, great. If you'd like another one, wait maybe a few months or so and just go on like that. So you are neutral in your Schufa record.
Yes, also even if the credit card rejects you, I would still wait a few months until applying for the next one.
Correct,
as well.
Yeah.
So all 3 credit cards we mentioned have their pros and their cons. However, we hope with this video we can give you an overview so you can make a choice for yourself, an informed one of which one to use and avoid their pitfalls. Until next time, choose!
For foreigners are...
No current currency fees?
Yes. For current currency fees?
So how do I pay for my debt for both of these revolving credit cards?
Good question.
Can I say something?
See? Dale.
Okay.
You're cute.
The biggest loyalty and rewards program, the Payback.